You want to guess? Trevor Lawrence is now in his 5th season. You want to guess how many game-winning drives that is for Trevor Lawrence in his 5th season? What he did last night with less than 2 minutes left?
Well, he had one in the playoffs against the Chargers that cost me $80,000.
This includes.
So I didn't forget that one.
This includes the postseason. This is 4th quarter and overtime.
9.
That's exactly right.
Good job, Greg.
Did he know?
That bacon really helped.
Yeah, of course he knew.
It's all bacon.
Of course he knew.
$80,000? Educated guess.
Let's just get past that one.
So it's 2 a year basically you can get from Trevor Lawrence, and he is the. I have this right? He's the only quarterback in the league who flips his hair over his shoulder before taking the snap because he's got to flip it over.
Starting. Minshew's still around.
Does Minshew's go back that far
Yeah.
where it goes down below the shoulder pads?
Yeah. Minshew could have a high and tight, and he's still going to do that move. It's muscle memory.
Yeah.
I didn't trust anything happening with Jacksonville late in that game because their quarterback is a galloping Clydesdale. And he does things like fumble on the goal line trying to get a sneak, and he does things like trip over his guard's foot at the 1-yard line so that he falls down. This is almost math. Do you know how big you have to be and clumsy to do what I'm about to say? Fall down from the 1-yard line on the 6-yard line, then on the 8-yard line again, and get up and run it in for a touchdown.
I understand we want to lead with the quarterbacks, but that game was won by Devin Lloyd. I mean, how good have the Chiefs been with Andy Reid as head coach in that red zone area, in that goal line area? They do this thing where they know the rule book and they have these legal pick plays, which should be outlawed, by the way. That first touchdown to Travis Kelce was, nonsense. And for Devin Lloyd to read Patrick Mahomes' mind, because you can't read eyes at that point. Everything's moving so quickly. To know what Patrick Mahomes is going to do there, step in front of the ball intended for Juju Smith-Schuster, and then on top of that, display the athleticism. And I think we're all at the point where we thought this guy's going to fumble the ball himself right before the goal line or get it punched out, right? To run 99 yards after that play. That is a season-changing type of play. That might be the difference between a home playoff game and not making the playoffs at all. That was certainly the difference in the game. Devin Lloyd, the last couple of weeks, I think he's been Defensive Player of the Month.
Yes.
An incredible story. Joe Buck and Troy Aikman did so well in highlighting the fact that he entered camp in a position battle. And he wasn't gifted that linebacker position, even though he was a first-round draft pick a couple of years ago. What he has done over the last month has been incredible.
He should probably be Defensive Player of the Year because you look at the impact he's had per next-gen stats. So Devin Lloyd's 99-yard pick six swung their win probability by 42 percentage points in that moment. That's with 2 minutes to go in the third quarter. It says that Devin Lloyd has added a 95.4 percentage in win probability over his league-leading 4 interceptions. That's more than double the next closest defender. His impact has been unfathomably important for this team.
That's not just Depoy argument right there. That is an MVP argument.
But can we acknowledge also that it's random? Like, we can be impressed with it, and he should deserve these things, but it's like, do we really think
I understand it feels random, but like the plays that he has made specifically, that is film study. That is 99 yards. That's also athleticism. That is God-given talent. There ain't nothing random about that play.
He almost got caught from behind, too, on that one.
Yeah. You know who was chasing him? A guy with a 4.2 40. Yeah.
The thing that I'm not going to do, though, is say that won the game, even though I understand why you would say that, because at the end, Trevor Lawrence still had to win it. Patrick Mahomes did the thing that you expect Patrick Mahomes to do in that spot, and even with only 21 seconds left, if the Chiefs had been able to not get a penalty on their kickoff, they might have gotten into field goal range. What happened at the end of the game was this Jags drive that I believe makes them not serious people. And they're not to be trusted in a playoff game. They're going to make – I know that they're very talented. I will not dispute that the Jags are very talented. I do not trust them in any way. And I don't trust them because of how that final drive went, because I've seen them play with that quarterback that way 4 or 5 years. And here's what happened. It was wildly undisciplined. They get the ball at the 40, first of all, because Harrison Butker. Like, you cannot allow the other team to start at the 40 when your only job is to never get hit and just kick a football. Kick it in bounds. They start at the 40-yard line. As I said, with 1:45 left, after a minute, they've gained 3 yards because Trevor Lawrence has run to his right and run to his left. Now he's exhausted. He's breathing hard, and they have to use a timeout because he just keeps running right and left and not throwing the football. Then they get into a 3rd and 13 and get bailed out by an interference call on an interception. They also had another throw at the goal line that could have been intercepted. It was a dumb pass that he threw at the goal line that just way too dangerous a pass to be throwing in that situation. Also, hurry up offense, delay of game. It's just a total disaster. And then I thought on that 1-yard play, given what had happened earlier in the game, Mike, because you're saying pick 6, but it's not like the Jags didn't fumble right on the goal line because Trevor Lawrence was holding the ball right over the goal line.
100%. You can make the argument that the Jags are much better than the Kansas City Chiefs when you look at the game flow. When you consider they had to come back, when you consider the huge fumble at the goal line, when you consider what you just outlined with that final drive, they were not making winning plays all that much outside of Devin Lloyd and Travis Hunter's incredible catch. It was a little confusing, especially when Kansas City is playing so well on offense.
Just think about what you said about the Chiefs on the goal line. The precision and the discipline that makes it when Patrick Mahomes throws a pick 6 that goes 99 yards, you guys all react as if a spaceship had landed on the field because it's something that you don't expect. Now pair that against how Trevor Lawrence did things from the 1-yard line. just yesterday, where I thought he was going to keep falling back until he was on his own goal line. And that play, even though he scored on it, wildly dangerous for him to be doing any of that in an out-of-control fashion where he's not paying attention necessarily to how he has the ball because he's in total panic.
Right, especially with an open receiver because the defender collapsed. It is hugely improbable. Not just the pick 6, but the fact that, as we highlighted, Lloyd outran Tyquan Thornton, who runs a 4.275. Yeah. I don't understand what I saw last night. The Jags might be legitimately
They're really
good.
talented.
They might be legitimately good because they didn't play an A-plus game to beat this dynastic Kansas City Chiefs team.
They cannot be really good because they're going to do something to screw it up in a big moment because they're wildly undisciplined.
Jacksonville was gifted that game. I have seldom seen the championship-era Chiefs under Andy Reid look like they did last night. Dumb penalties throughout the game, bad special teams, defense completely losing that game. It was gifted to Jacksonville. I don't give much credit to the Jaguars for winning that game. I think Kansas City just took a big giant crap on national TV.
Duval.
Can you play the sound of their owner, Shad Khan, who's still trying to get over the Urban Meyer of it all? He's still trying to shake it.
This clip I want to play is actually from weeks ago, but he's so happy to have a winner.
This is what we envisioned in January, okay?
Yes, sir.
It's happening here in September. Gonna go on forever.
Forever. Talk to me in December. Anybody who thinks the Jaguars are a Super Bowl contender is high.
What?
You're high on dope.
They're very talented, Greg.
They're very talented. Their defense is hugely improved, but this is not a team that's going to scare anybody.
Greg, all right, let's talk this out. How would you grade their performance last night? Give it a letter grade.
I would give it a C+ to B.
All right.
He said A.
He said A a couple times before he landed on C+. I agree. C+ seems fair. They just beat the Kansas City Chiefs with a C+ effort. If that team meets its ceiling, they can beat anyone in that conference.
Forever.
And they beat the Chiefs with the Chiefs playing a style of football that has evaded them for the better part of 2 years.
I mean, Pacheco was getting up every play, flexing. Pacheco was even back.
Yeah,
good. That was a Kansas City offensive performance that we've been longing to see. And the Jags mustered up a C+ effort and came back from multiple scores down and had to win in the game's final moments. Like that's impressive. I come away from that performance thinking the Jags are going to be a problem if they make it to the playoffs because they could throw up a Jake Browning type performance.
You guys
again.
say this though because when you talk about the fact that some of this stuff is random and not repeatable, what do you do with what I'm about to say? Because maybe their defense is hugely improved, maybe. Or maybe they had 9 takeaways in 17 games last year, and they've already got 14 this year. Like, you guys think that's real? You think you can keep taking the football away at a pace that would allow you to have 14 takeaways in 5 games that would skew all the results, because that's an absurd number.
Right.
They've already got 5 more this year than they had all of last year.
Yeah, and that's a stat that usually correlates to winning. It doesn't always. The Dolphins have had 5 takeaways in the last 2 games and lost them both, or lost one of them. But in this case, Jacksonville, they can't. That's not repetitive. You can't have that pace all season.
Greg, to your point of things not being repetitive, not just the turnover stat, which definitely seems like that'll come down a bit, but remember how they had everybody fooled last year with their ability to win one-score games? They were 11-0 in one-score games last year, even though their numbers reflected something closer to the Giants. We thought, okay, well, that could be a skill when you have the GOAT under center. You see their record this season in one-score games?
Yeah, they lose them all.
Yeah.
Because that largely isn't an ability, but Patrick Mahomes did what he had to do at the end of that game to win it. What do you make, though, of the fact that the Jags have 14 takeaways and no other team in the league has 10? Like, it's just an enormous amount of turnovers that they've caused.
Right.
And I don't think it's because their defense is that good.
I mean, but the plays that they're actually making, it doesn't seem like super fluky. It's not, Arizona Cardinals, Titans, football's bouncing off feet. I mean, they're making really good plays.
It's not Bryce Young just throwing the ball right for Bradley Chubb. Here you go. Here's a touchdown.
I mean, and they
It's
did play
14
Jake Browning.
It's 14. Like,
that'll come
when
down.
everyone's protecting the football and they've got 14. Trevor Lawrence has 9 game-winning drives. They've got 14 turnovers in 5 games.
They lead in differential. They're +8, but you have teams like the Steelers are +7, the Saints are +5, the Chiefs are +4. These teams that are not having a lot of success in winning football games are also right near the top of the league in that differential. So while their turnover rate in terms of causing them might go down, you would hope, if you're looking at this team, you're 4-1, that Trevor Lawrence's turnover rate could potentially go down as well. You could look at him as Liam Cohen and say, look at all the things we do well as a team. All you need to do is not mess it up.
When I say that Jacksonville was gifted that game, Kansas City's offense was really good, and it's getting better. They were good last night. Mahomes was good, and now they have Rashee Rice coming back next week. The issue is their defense was terrible last night. Special teams made errors. Penalties all over the field. Andy Reid had to be embarrassed by his team last night, not because they lost, but how they lost.
You must have had the Chiefs and -3.5. The way that you're talking, you had a terrible week picking games.
I had a
right?
terrible week, and there were 6 or 7 games.
You had the Chiefs.
Including Miami and Kansas City. There were 6 or 7 teams that had double-digit leads and all lost the game. And I think I was on the wrong side of all 6 or 7 of those games.
What did you end up going? You always want us to talk about your picks around here.
Only when I have a good week.
What did you end up having? Was it how bad a week was it?
It was 4-10.
4-10 against the spread?
No, straight up.
Woof.
It might have been better. I haven't figured it out yet. It probably was better against the spread, the way my weekend went. But 4-10
But this is
straight
why
up
you're
was my worst ever.
it affects your analysis. You do realize when you get emotional about your picks losing, you just called a game in which the Chiefs scored 28 points and Patrick Mahomes led what could have been the game-winning drive if Trevor Lawrence had just kept Trevor Lawrence in.
Yeah, and if the Kansas City defense had shown up for the game.